Hi guys, this is Elizabeth Quam from Getty Grove, and we, if you've been watching, are in transition, and we are going to be moving to a new acreage, and we're going to start all over. I'm sitting under the canopy of my peach tree. This is an Alberta peach tree, and it's not quite this zone. I should have bought like a contender, which I do have one of those, or a Red Haven, or a Reliance that's a little bit more for this area, but last year it did give me one peach that I didn't know about, fell to the ground, and I saw it as it fell to the ground, and it was had some worms on it, but it smelled so good. It was so sad. But I have stood underneath an Alberta peach tree that was planted in town in Madrid, Iowa, and I've eaten tons of peaches underneath that tree. It has a microclimate where it's planted next to a house, and it has cement road right next to it, so that helps. That little bit helps. Anyway, on to my my curiosity. So I wanted to ask a professional, and I kind of posted my video on some pages, and I didn't get any comments because I didn't know. My question was this: how much, because I'm thinking, oh, it would be nice to use as shade cloths my fruit trees, kind of a natural arbor to get squash plants or anything else that I want, grapevines or squash plants or any vining plants, up onto a trellis kind of thing, and make the fruit tree my trellis. And I was thinking about Paul Gautschi, and he, if you don't know him, you have to take a look at his garden tours. They are really great. Before I even knew, I was doing this mulch thing a little bit, and I was like, I grew a pepper in mulch, and I was like, this is amazing. My neighbor said, oh, like the Paul Gautschi's method. I'm like, who's that? And then I looked it up. I'm like, it's not a new thing, and this is amazing. This is really good. And he has the Back to Eden videos. Just really great stuff. Great to listen to him. If you haven't seen him, go take a look. But anyhow, so my question was, how much of the tree can I prune without it dying? And although specifically, and I had looked up, so I thought to myself, I'm going to look up Paul Gautschi and see what he's up to lately. So I looked up some videos from him. I found one that was a video from 10 months ago by the two girls that actually produced his movie for him, and they just had an interview with him, and they had various questions for him. And one of the things that they had, and it just makes me smile, is a squash plant, a spaghetti squash plant growing on one of his apple trees or a pear tree. I'm not sure which one it was, but I just thought, oh, that's exactly what I want to do. And but more so, I thought, okay, just to give it enough light, how much of the tree can I prune? Well, I didn't really feel like I found an answer specifically, and so I saw his phone number and I called him. An hour later, he actually called me back. And I had Paul Gautschi on the line, and I was able to ask him some questions. And one of the questions was, the question that I asked him was about pruning. And he's just gave me a simple answer, as you would expect. Kind of an obvious answer. Just prune it like you normally would. Let it grow in the shade. I've got things growing in the shade. I've got my strawberry plants growing underneath my cherry tree, and I've seen them. So that's right. And so what he has done is he has had years and years and years of this mulch gardening method, and he said little by little. So at first he had problems with diseases and this and that, you know, while he was doing it, but after the years went on, his problems just kind of disappeared one by one, little by little. So that method of gardening with the mulch is just such a great one. And I have an abundance in my area. I have an abundance of mulch. I also don't have any termites. Got lots of ants in the sandy soil, but it's going to be a different dynamic when we move to this area where it's going to be like a foresty kind of clay sand. It's a very weird soil. It's like a chalky, clay, sandy mixture. Very strange. We'll get her done. But thank you. Anyway, so I am, if you don't know how he prunes his trees, so his normal pruning is a little different than an average person's normal pruning of a tree as well. He does go around and take out the canopy of the trees. So like as is growing, he'll just take off the nubs he'll rub off the nubs that are growing from the ones that would grow straight out, the shoots that you would be pruning in the winter. He just prunes all summer long. He doesn't allow them to grow that much. Because why let them grow? And they waste energy in growing that, and then they shade the leaves that are trying to produce, are putting energy into making the fruit. So, and he has wonderfully big, juicy apples in a place that is pretty dry. So, it is very encouraging to have, and a privilege to have been able to speak actually directly to him. So that was fun. And I hope that you were encouraged to try to grow some things in the shade of your fruit trees. And I'm going to be trying to do a lot of that. So my main plot for the ground of my garden, I want to train them so that I don't have to like bend over and climb underneath them to pick the apples and pears. But I'll have like fruit trees in my garden, but it won't be like, the main objective won't be to grow fruit, although it'll be a side benefit, I hope. So it will be just a natural arbor, a natural climbing trellis, a natural trellis for my vegetables to hopefully climb on and enjoy. All right, should we go inside, Bubby? Huh? Yes. Jace is growing so strong, so sweet. Gotta love him. All the other kids are doing good too.